Live from Augusta, you're watching News 12 at 6 o'clock.
Good evening. If you're just getting home, the all
nicer outlook Saturday afternoon. We'll have a full look at that in just a little bit.
We are just 2 weeks away from the official renaming ceremony for Fort Gordon, but those signs of change are already here, covered with a white tarp on that new sign at Gate 1. And we can expect to see more changes soon. That ceremony to Fort Eisenhower happens next Friday, the 27th. The movie industry has been booming here in the Peach State and here at home with the best tax incentives in the country since around 2008. Our parent company, Gray, is getting ready to launch a huge production studio in Atlanta. It's called Assembly.
And Film Augusta recently announced a studio in the works for Augusta, too. But the tax incentives that keep our pipeline to Hollywood flowing are under review by the state and could be in jeopardy. Big stars and big films are finding their way to the Garden City.
Film has definitely made an impact in Augusta. If we were to estimate conservatively, it's somewhere probably between maybe $5 and $8 million over a 5-year period.
With huge state tax credits luring production to the Peach State over the past several years, we've seen blockbusters like The Hill with Dennis Quaid.
Time to figure out what you're gonna do with the rest of your life.
Hi, boys. Suicide Squad with the old Augusta jail as a backdrop. Agent Game brought Mel Gibson to town. Here he is shooting a scene right in the middle of downtown Broad Street.
It automatically created a buzz in downtown Augusta that really reverberated out to the rest of the city. You know, Mel Gibson's in town. Did you see Mel Gibson? And there's a pride and an excitement in that.
Remember this iconic scene from Hunger Games? Yeah, that's the dam at nearby Clarks Hill Lake. And most recently, Five Star Murder, almost entirely shot in Augusta, some of it in News 12 studios, with meteorologist Riley Hale making a cameo.
There's the Five Star Murder slate that was used on the film, created jobs. It has created educational programs where we have trained up more people. It's really been a boon to our area that a lot of people don't even know the amount of money that has been spent.
But he does. Part of his job is budgeting for some of the films that shoot in Augusta. Here's the budget for one that's getting ready to start production.
This is all the money that would go to just the truck drivers on that project. And then 28 days of shooting, $36 an hour, 14 hours. You know, these are the kinds of things. That's just a truck driver. And we're looking at $13 million that could be spent. And then our tax credit, for example.
Big breaks luring big bucks here to a city that's already a star in the golf world, quickly making a name for itself in the star world. So right now, the state review panel is meeting once a month to recommend whether to change those tax incentives for film companies to shoot here or cap them or maybe something else entirely. Those in the film industry argue without them, the movie boom we've seen and all the revenue that comes with it will dry up. They're expected to make their recommendations in January when lawmakers head back to session.
Also this evening, 3 candidates want to be the next mayor of Grovetown. Incumbent Gary Jones running for a 3rd term. His challenges are Soretta Smith and Deborah Fisher. Sidney Hood's been talking to each candidate for us, and tonight we hear from the mayor himself.
Well, I'm running for a 3rd term to build on what we've already established here, and that is a level of professionalism and improved image.
An image, Mayor Jones says, comes with several parts.
One of integrity and honesty, one that is helpful, and I want to continue to move forward in that area where people can feel like that their government is honest and that the government cares about them.
He says the biggest thing he hears about is traffic.
The traffic issues, most of them are developed on state routes, so we're kind of limited on what can be done.
But he says a solution could be in the works.
And I think next week we have one of our first meetings to realign Old Wrightsboro Road, which is the road right out here in front of City Hall, with Newmantown Road. Some point we're going to be looking at realigning that intersection and improving that, which will help tremendously with the traffic.
Because growth is inevitable here.
Another thing is people want to see more sit-down restaurants and things of that nature. And we are proactively seeking those type people now, but you know, we can't force somebody to come to the city. It has to be something they feel like is a good investment.
He says he is looking at tax incentives to offer.
We have since been working on that, getting feedback from the public to what they want to see. our developers, and we think we have got something now that will work for everybody.
But first, he's got an election to get through.
So I think my record speaks for itself. And if anybody wants to do any research on what all I've done, it's out there to see. All they have to do is Google Gary Jones, and they'll see it.
3 candidates and 1 choice. That's up to you. In Grovetown, Sydney Hood, on your side.
So the race is on, and you can see all of our interviews with those 3 candidates on the website. And don't forget, early voting starts on Monday. Our Under the Lights Game of the Week is a region showdown tonight between ARC and Harlem right here in Augusta. We're going to hear from both head coaches right after this break.
And if you are heading to those high school football games, definitely pack the rain gear. We got light rain through tonight, but drying out for the weekend. Full forecast just after the break.
Time and temp.
Today.
Hey, Jill, what's the matter?
Man, this is name change is stressing me out.
Everyone will know we still specialize in Medicare.
Yeah, I know that. What about this?
Are you 64.com?
Now, your first alert weather with Chief Meteorologist Riley Hale.
Well, on Branch Yacht Club, and by next week, we'll really see those lake temps drop with mornings back down in the 40s.
With only a handful of games left in the regular season, high school football teams all across the CSRA know a single play, drive, call, or point could determine whether or not their team makes the playoffs. News 12's Alyssa Lyons joins us live from the Academy of Richmond County, where ARC is going head-to-head with Harlem, and they're sharing the spotlight for our Under the Lights Game of the Week.
Well, Dan, both buses from Harlem have arrived, and now ARC getting in some of that pregame warm-up in. So lots of drills going on here. This did not come as a surprise to either coach. These are 2 passionate fan bases. Harlem travels well, and ARC, well, they know how to play host to a party. And these 2 have a history that could make the tables spin. Harlem football is now 2-0 in region play, looking for their 3rd straight region win. While on the other hand, the Musketeers sit at 1-1. The last time ARC beat Harlem was back in 2020. Head coach Keenan Grissett feels like this is finally their time. They spent the last month mostly on the road and now are starting to really settle in and settle down. Harlem, while still outscoring region opponents 84-26, is coming into this one a little banged up, and with rain on the way, there's really no clear picture in this crystal ball.
They're big up front. They're big on the offensive and defensive lines, and they've got some really athletic skill position players. As far as the matchup, I feel like we match up well, but it's going to be a challenge. They're a tough team, well coached.
This is a game that can either shake up the region dramatically or go ahead and plan it out and let it know what it's going to be. Obviously, they have Harlem tapped to come in and beat us, rightfully so. They've earned that much, but we have something to say for sure. So we want to come out, put our best foot forward, and make sure that they know we're here to stay.
Well, like we just heard from First Alert meteorologist Riley Hale, there's going to be a lot more than X's and O's on this field tonight. It's really going to be, the key is simple here, keeping that game ball dry. It all kicks off at 7:30. I'll have post-game reaction coming up at 11.
And thank you, Alyssa. Our Under the Lights coverage continues in just a few minutes when we hear from Evans and Silver Bluff ahead of their region showdowns tonight. Stick around. We'll be right back after this quick break.
On your sideline, sports brought to you by the Hawk Law Group.
Good teams just find ways to win tough games, especially when those games are against teams that are standing in your way of making the playoffs. Now, the Evans Knights were tested early on in the season with a tough non-region schedule, losing 3 out of their first 4 games. Head coach Barrett Davis says those 3 losses fueled the fire and that the start of region play, helping them lock in when it matters most, winning back-to-back games in region, heading into tonight's tough matchup against Effingham County at the Castle.
Our kids are resilient. Kids are resilient, and they've bought into what we're trying to do as a team culture, and they haven't wavered in it. We told them this is going to be a tough gauntlet for you to get you ready. So, and they understood that, and they accepted the challenge every week, and they've answered the bell the last 2 weeks for when it counts.
Effingham County is sitting at 4-3 and has a really explosive offense, so Evans will have the chance to make a statement tonight. Now, across state lines in South Carolina, Silver Bluff is on fire. They're currently riding a 4-game winning streak and are in control of their own destiny with 3 games left on their schedule. News 12's Will Volk tells us why the Bulldogs have what it takes to win their highly competitive region and why they're not bluffing.
What a start to the season it's been for Silver Bluff. They're 6-1 with that one loss coming to still unbeaten Midland Valley. They have 6 wins, which is the same amount of wins they had last season. I stopped by Silver Bluff to see what's different about this year's team.
It's a big jump from last year.
What's behind Silver Bluff's strong start?
All the work we put out in the summer and spring, it pays off.
Last November, when we got put out in the second round, our guys immediately went to work.
Coach D'Angelo Bryant credits the leadership from his upperclassmen.
This year, we're veterans in a lot of areas. We're stronger, we're faster. And more than anything, our mindset is just in a different place.
He believes a region championship is winnable. The Bulldogs are ready to show Silver Bluff ain't bluffing. They're real contenders.
We talk about playing one play at a time, taking one step at a time, one game at a time. And that's exactly what we have to do. We can't look too far ahead.
A huge showdown with Strom Thurmond is coming up next week, but Bryant says their focus is on this week. They know hitting the road to face Saluda won't be easy.
Very tough football team. They'll be coached well. They play physical. They have playmakers on the team, and so we have to be able to not just match it, but we have to elevate our play and play much better than what we did last week.
And Coach Bryant says they're definitely not overlooking Saluda. He knows tonight's game will be between 2 well-coached football teams. To win this one, he says they're going to have to win all 3 phases of the game. I'll be here tonight shooting highlights, and we'll have them for you tonight.
Thank you, Will. That game is going to be a lot of fun, just like the rest of tonight's high school football action, which we'll be breaking down on the newest edition of Under the Lights tonight at 11 o'clock.
All right, thanks, Dan. These kids are playing games in the classroom, and they're not getting in trouble. Richmond County Technical Career Magnet School is joining dozens of other schools across Georgia in the esports industry. We stopped by the Richmond County Cyber Academy to see how games are sending kids to school now.
The students got to be like pretty good at the games to even get the scholarship, and also the school would have to accept it to college. So we visited Georgia State University, and I believe they're one of the ones that will accept the scholarship.
The students compete throughout the year, and last year was the school's first year competing, so good luck to all those gamers.
Yeah, there's a future in that for a lot of kids. Today, Chick-fil-A and the North Augusta Department of Public Safety teaming up for Cookies with Cops. Families got the chance to stop by and decorate a chocolate chip cookie with those officers, take a few pictures, maybe grab a bite to eat there while they're there. Just a good way to connect with the community and a win-win for everybody involved.
And if you're heading out this evening, grab the umbrella. Luckily, we do dry out for the weekend and cooling off those temperatures next week. We'll look at that 7 day again just after the break. Well, we do at the start of the Western Carolina State Fair and also the Georgia Carolina Fair tonight. Gates opened up at 5 o'clock. If you're heading out there, there's going to be the opportunity for some rain through this evening, so I would definitely take the umbrella. Much better fair weather Saturday and Sunday. Those afternoon temperatures should stay in the 70s in Aiken County and looking to stay mostly dry as well. We also have a big game in Columbia this weekend. South Carolina taking on the Florida Gators. Currently in Columbia, live look at Williams-Brice. They got temperatures 65 degrees. And if you are heading up there tomorrow, tailgating temps should be near 70. As we head towards game time at 3:30, those afternoon highs should be mid to upper 70s. Going to be a little bit breezy in Williams-Brice, but overall a nice day for some football and looking good to stay nice and dry for that. Once we get past the weekend, we are going to see a much cooler outlook next week. Take a look at those morning lows back down into the 40s Monday all the way through Thursday morning, and cool afternoon highs in the 60s.
Riley, thanks very much. We're live at the top of the hour over on NBC 26.
And we'll be back with more News 12 and Under the Lights coverage tonight at 11.